Good afternoon, guys. I hope you guys are good. Um, you know, I never thought one day I'll have an opportunity to tell my story and for people to actually be willing to listen. You know, over the years, I've I've been asked why do I choose to live life the way that I do? How do I do things that I do? Um, and the question from why do I choose the life that I live um, simply comes from the fact that I don't drink alcohol. And I know it seems a bit far fetched because when you look at my videos, you see this hyperactive person, this person that seems like he doesn't sleep at night, he's always out partying. Um, so I'm just gonna share a few things with you guys for like the next coming 15 minutes. Um, Yeah, it's true. I do not drink. I've never had alcohol in my life. I've never smoked in my life. I've never tried. And most of the time, when I mention that I don't smoke and I've never smoked in my life, uh, the next question that will come will be like, even weed. I mean, weed is still smoking. So yeah, I've never smoked in my life. So yeah, it is what it is. And why have I not done that? Did it do anything wrong to me? Um, which is the question that arises because people don't listen attentively. No, it didn't do anything to me. Alcohol has not done anything to me. I've never tried alcohol. Um, so I I don't drink simply because I made a choice in life not to drink. I was never told by my parents not to drink. I was never inspired not to drink. I was never forced not to drink. I just made that decision. Um, I remember when I was growing up, I had these big dreams, and I know I've been judged on social media many a times that I'm very materialistic and whatnot. I'm I'm one of the people who tell the truth, and I'm not afraid of anyone, and I'll always tell the truth. Yes, I'm very materialistic. I'm a materialistic person, but I'm one person that believes in working for what he earns, and somebody that believes in having things that he has worked hard for, things that he has earned. So yes, I love BMWs. Very, I'm materialistic in that kind of way. I love BMWs, and I've worked hard for that. And ask me why do I love BMW and why I'm so passionate about the car so much. It's is not that I look at the car and I think to myself that it's one of the most beautiful cars or fastest cars or best driving cars, which affects it is, but that is not the reason why I fell in love with the car. When I was growing up, I remember in mid 90s, early 90s, mid 90s. I think, if I remember vividly, I think it was around 1994 when BMW just released its uh, 3 Series Dolphin, the E36 version of BMW. I always had this dream, and I've always been this boy that has been obsessed with cars. And I remember I used to like remember like car number plates, like within the family, like my uncle's car number plates, my aunts and whoever that had cars in the family, and how I used to like ask my dad and beg my dad to buy me car magazines because I it made me feel good to watch the magazines. It made me feel good because I could not read at that time like properly, but I could read, but not to read to understand. But it's one of the things that made me the person that I am. That I kept bringing all these magazines home that I slept with, that made me feel okay about my life and about the future. And I trust me, I was thinking about the future at the time. Um, so as time goes on, these things did it 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 did not make sense to me how my dad was not buying these cars that I saw, these cars that I liked. I'm not sure if other people will share the same sentiments, especially boy children or men, that your father is your hero, and each and every single beautiful thing that you identify or that you know of in this world, you will he will certainly request your father to buy it. So I always had this dream that my dad will one day walk in with a car that he bought brand new or something like that. Um, Firstly, my dad, um, he didn't buy a car, and he kept promising to get a new car for us as a family. We did have a car at home, which was a car that he was given by it was given to him by his father, was my grandfather. Um, it was quite an old car, and well, it's not nice when when your dad has an old car and everybody else has like a parent that's always buying like a new car. So it's things that affected me when I was growing up. It's things that made me not or fear mostly um, failure in life. Though at that time I did not see my dad as a failure. Even now, I still don't see him as a failure. But um, it was to me, it was like when I realized later on, just after I finished school, that uh, for us men, material things are very essential in our lives, and if you do not acquire certain things, it is a sign or a symbol of failure. So I tried working very, very hard to like get anything and everything that I wanted for myself, and I still didn't drink, I still didn't smoke growing up. Uh, yeah, so that phase of my life that is just one phase that shaped me a lot, especially when I realized that my the promises that my dad made me that he was going to get himself a new car were actually not going to come true. Um, why? Because I had realized that my dad had spent most of his time in life trying to shape our future as his children. The first son, and after me, is Katleho, who's 5 years younger than me, then Disetso, who's 14 years younger than me. Um, I realized that when I started doing my research later on when I was an adult, that my dad did not earn a lot of money. He he earned as as much as he could take us to school. How what also made me realize this was fact that when I was in primary school, which I did in the township in Katlehong, a school called Kekezo Primary School, was um, that when I was in standard 5, grade 7, at that time it was standard 5. I remember the whole grade system only changed the following year when we did grade 8. Because I remember when grade 8 was identified as grade 8 and standard 5 was still standard 5. In 1998, I was in standard 5. When I was in standard 5, I asked my parents to take me to Dawnview High School, which is in the East Rand in Gauteng. Um, my dad told me point blank that he didn't have the money to take me to school, to Dawnview High School, um, and I lost it with my parents because that's where I wanted to be. So I kind of like lost it with my parents, and I promised my parents that I would commit suicide if they were not to take me to Dawnview. And my parents came later on that evening and said to me that it's fine, they'll be able to take me to Dawnview, but there are conditions for me to go to Dawnview High School. And those conditions were I will carry lunch every day of my schooling years for 5 years, until matric, obviously, and and that's a sacrifice that they will make, and they'll just pay school fees. I remember when they were paying, when I started Dawnview, it was like the most amazing thing ever. Uh, got uniform, school fees. Also, that's another thing that I only realized at a later stage in life, that um, school fees was a bit of a battle, but I didn't know at that time because I don't know how, because there's like technology and people are like advanced today, so obviously parents pay school fees directly, but during those times we were given money by our parents to go pay in the office. So my parents used to give me like every month school fees or pay in the office. And I remember certain months like I was late with paying school fees, and to me it was like a normal thing to do. It was a normal thing that happened. It didn't give me any ideas whatsoever. But we eventually paid every month. We paid. There's certain months that we skipped, and my dad would like write a letter like to make an arrangement and whatnot. And when I look back at all of this, I realized that my parents didn't have money, and they had forced uh, their way to getting me what I wanted, which was multiracial uh, schooling and education, because I felt that I was not learning enough from a township school, and also, that was not the only reason. Also, I felt it was not easy for me in the township, because I was teased with a lot of things. I was teased with the color of my lips, with the size of my lips, with the color of my skin. Some people said I was colored. Some people, at some point, some people said I was mixed race, um, but I was not. And it's not nice as a child when you get told such things. Your mom went to go to kitchening, and it's really really hard. It was really hard at that time. Um, but I remember these are the things that made me want to leave the township. And from those times in my life, I didn't like living in the township, and I've never liked, to this day I still don't like, though I have like township culture. You will hear in the way that I speak, in the slang that I use, that I'm very township rooted. But it didn't take away the fact that I wanted to leave. Um, and the passing of my grandfather in 1992 was really a turning point in my life, because at that time, I remember when my grandfather passed, it was just before the Barcelona Olympics, and we had to bury my grandfather. And then later on, after my grandfather had passed, we had to like relocate, because I was living with my grandfather and my grandmother from my dad's side, and I had to like relocate and live with my grandparents from my mom's side. Though my parents were still together, it's just that they couldn't handle us, so it was much easier living there, and there was really nothing wrong with it. Um, and so for me, like my first 5 years of my life, I lived with my grandparents from my dad's side, and beyond that, in my primary school years, then that's when I lived with my grandparents from my mom's side of the family, and I only started moving in with my parents when I went to high school, because then I could take care of myself. So yeah, so that's what happened, and from that point, I realized my identity, and the structure of my family, and the way that I did things in my life, which obviously had to like unpack itself in the way that I would conduct myself in the future going forward. And with a whole lot of things that are happening right now, especially with social media, when you get people that get big headed with social media, and because you have the numbers, you have the followers and whatnot, you start wanting to do, taking advantage of the market, start wanting to do things, print t-shirts, make money and whatnot. And yes, opportunity is opportunity, but I've always gotten a lot of people coming to me telling me, "Hey, listen, we will they'll give me advice. They'll tell me, why don't you do this? You can make a lot of money. Why don't you do this? You can make a lot of money. Why don't you move to YouTube?" I remember somebody was advised me about YouTube about 4 years ago, and I was like, "Nah, man, I'm not ready for YouTube." And even last year, even early this year, before I had a YouTube channel, I was being advised about YouTube, but it's something that I always refused to be part of, not because I did not want to be part of it, but because I knew my times, and I know when is the right time to move and execute certain things. With Facebook as well, when I left Facebook in July this year, I said August or July, yeah, somewhere around there. Um, like people couldn't believe that I left Facebook with. I was sitting on Facebook. I did not have a Facebook page that I could populate by sponsoring. I had a normal Facebook account like everybody else, but I had like 5,000 friends, and I had about 118,000 followers on that account. And obviously, people are looking at a monetary way of doing things on social media, which I do think about, but it's not something that I want to force. I always believed in myself. I always believed in what I stand for. And for me, social media, I used it as a tool to cure another person, to speak and send a message to another person that might need that message at that particular time. And it was not for me to come and make money and to leverage on the market. And then I moved to Instagram. Well, I still had Facebook, and then and I left Facebook obviously in July. And when I left Facebook, it, to a lot of people, it seemed like a waste. It seemed like I just threw away like followers just like that. And to me, it's like it doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter. And I know to other people, people will fight for certain things because they believe they've earned them. I'm one of the people that won't fight for things that I believe I've earned them. I don't believe in fighting for things. I believe if something was meant to be mine, if I worked hard for it and I lost it, that I still have the talent. I still have the skill. I'm still me. I still have what it takes to acquire it again or acquire something better beyond that. And that's when I started YouTube. I was gonna go to YouTube alone, but I felt I'm getting married, and from now on until the last days of my life in this world, I will do everything with a partner. I'll do everything with Caleb Freely, and I decided to do just a YouTube channel with Caleb Freely, and other people would look at it like, yeah, I know, you brought her on, we liked you, because I've had a couple of negative feedback from YouTube where people say, no, I'm better off alone, I'm more entertaining alone, with her, it's whatnot, whatnot. And then some people will like us together. Actually, a lot of people love us together, which is very cool for me. I actually find gather inspiration from such comments. But the reality of life that people do not actually recognize is that as soon as you choose a life, you need to choose it wholeheartedly, and you can't go back. You can't do certain things in silos. You have to work together. Um, if you feel something is going to be part of your life for the rest of your life, you need to stick to it. You can't exclude it from certain activities that you participate in. So yeah. So I don't drink, yes. I'm an enthusiast, yes, of certain things. Um, things that people don't deem to be a norm. Like now, I'm going to buy myself a motorcycle, a bike, and every time I mention that, you get people telling you, now you want to die, now you're applying for your death certificate, and whatnot. Well, people don't know what's inside of me. People don't know what's inside of other people. People don't know what makes us complete, what makes us live life to the fullest, what makes us who we are. And also growing up, I remember I used to get told a lot of times that we get al yeah. And we get al was not because I was speaking funny English. We get al came from the activities that I chose to take part in, for not drinking, not living a nightlife. And I remember also on Facebook, I used to get a lot of backlash when people say, I keep groovy collocationing. When people don't understand, I keep groovy at all. I don't prefer taboo over escaleni chisanyama go gazi. I don't go on my Saturday evenings. I'm in the house, I'm watching TV. I love being in the house and watching TV. If I'm going to go out, for me, going out is, let's go to a restaurant and have like the best food in this country. Let's find a country that makes the best. So yeah, so that's it. So for me, it's a matter of choices that you make in life that make you who you are. And we go out with children, man. We go out to theme parks. We go out to bounce. We go out to rush. We go out to Magic Company. That's what we do. We go to Carnival City. That's those are the things that we we see as going out. Even if it's at night, it needs to be with family. Um, which is something that I feel the black society is missing the most. When we want to go out, first thing that we do as men is we want to exclude our women in our going out, because obviously there's going to be stock where we're going. um, we want to exclude our children when we're going out, because obviously we want to get onto other activities. And for me it's very different. And um, I still suffer those comments where people will say to you, um, I know you are like Ojuan man, like you, what's wrong with you, you know? When you are in love, they'll say "Ujisitwe" or whatnot. Um, it's it's not nice. It's not easy. We all know that we want the greatest of futures for ourselves. Everybody wants to be happy, but that element of happiness in someone makes someone uncomfortable in their position, which has nothing to do with that person. So yeah, I just wanted to share the story, guys, about my growing up and the way that I do things. And I'm glad that my partner also understood when I told her about buying a bike. She was against it earlier on, but when I explained to her the type of bike that I'm buying and how this bike is going to change my life forever, and how I also explained to other people on social media when I posted the bike, they were advising me to join certain riding clubs and whatnot. But I was like, no, that's not the point. I'm not buying a bike to be part of a running club. I don't want to live my life like everybody else. I don't want to be that guy that just bought a bike and now I must do breakfast runs with. No, I'm not. There's a particular reason why I bought this bike. And that reason you guys will find out. And I hope you guys will embrace. And I hope this reason will will inspire you one day. And I hope this reason will inspire those communities that I will help with this bike. I just want to say thank you so much for supporting us on our YouTube channel, and supporting us, I mean, watching these videos, and not for us but for yourself also. We put up these videos of me and Kelebogile fighting and talking about certain things because we want you guys to know that it's okay. It's normal to fight as a couple. It's okay. Fighting does not mean we are going to break up. Have those fights, have the best times, live your life. Do not be scared, because I remember social media got to a point where people were just so scared of posting their partners. You will never post them to Haka because this and that and that and that. You know, people were just so scared because you're scared that you might be dating someone. You might be a love stock because whoever that you're dating is busy sleeping around with other people. It was that. It was that. People just, there's still people who hide their people on social media because the life is not that comfortable for them, you know. But um, we come, and I come as one of those people who want to inspire the thought of live your life to the fullest. Do not cheat yourself one time. Don't ever allow your life to be conducted by the people that do not know how it is to be you. Never ever allow yourself to go to the grave without realizing your dreams. If you want to fly an airplane, you must give yourself time and learn how to fly an airplane. And one day you will take it to the skies alone, and you will look at the world and you will understand why the world is one of the best creations that God has ever made. And you will understand why you are alive and your purpose in this life. And the most important thing, why it's necessary for you to live to another day. Thank you guys for watching this. I wish you guys all the best. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for liking. Thank you for disliking, because it's also a reaction. Thank you, South Africa. One day we're gonna be great, all of us. And they won't believe. They just won't believe. We're gonna be great.